A town is out over $13 million after unsuccessfully trying to claim that an Amazon fulfillment center is neither a warehouse nor an industrial building. If that sounds strange, it's because this whole story is strange. It starts in 2021 when the real estate developer Broccolini announced plans to build a state-of-the-art warehouse distribution center. Now, I was going to do a joke about how it wasn't this Broccolini, but instead the company that's built over 20 million square feet of industrial space, but a joke like that is beneath me, so I'm not going to do it. Anyways, this project, which again was clearly introduced as a warehouse distribution center, was controversial from the beginning as a community group popped up vehemently opposing the project. Even back then, the group, or at least this one guy, had a hunch it'd be leased to Amazon, but Broccolini said due to confidentiality agreements, they couldn't announce who it was at that time. This plays a very important role in the story, which I'll get to in a moment. But back to 2021 when they were given a permit to start site work. It was granted under an approval process this specific jurisdiction offered called a Minister's Zoning Order. This legislation essentially allows developers to bypass the scrutiny of citizens and let the final decision rest on the government. And there's no requirement to hold a public hearing and no ability to appeal either. So despite vocal opposition, Broccolini was given approval to start work on this roughly 60-acre site. Once the site work was completed, Broccolini applied for a building permit, which included this letter from their consultant to the city. In the letter, they very clearly state it's for a warehouse distribution center / logistics operation / fulfillment center. At the time, the city was offering a sizable discount for any new developments that met the definition of warehouse. So Broccolini applied for and was granted a permit to begin construction. And the bill was $9 million. Not long after, however, the city came back and said they didn't know it was Amazon that would be the tenant in the building. This in spite of the guy holding up the sign in 2021 and the fact that the community group highlighted how Broccolini had built 9 other buildings for Amazon. And they apparently also missed the part about it being a warehouse distribution center / logistics operation / fulfillment center. Let's take a look at this building. First, here's an orbit of the exterior. Then, here's an inside view from another Amazon fulfillment center. Although this seems pretty clear to me, the government's argument was that because Amazon is an online retailer, the building was neither a warehouse nor an industrial property, and therefore the project wasn't eligible for that discount. So they sent Broccolini a $13.7 million invoice. Not many companies would be willing to pay an extra $13.7 million after they had already paid $9 million, so as most would do, Broccolini took this matter to a tribunal. And the matter presented to the tribunal was going to be in 2 distinct phases. Phase 1. Lawyers for Broccolini wanted to challenge whether this particular municipality could come back and apply additional charges after a permit was already issued. And then the second phase would be to address the question, what exactly is an industrial property? Both parties agreed they would only go to phase 2 if phase 1 was unsettled. And it wouldn't go past phase 1 as after hundreds and hundreds of pages of submissions and lawyers referencing former cases, the tribunal came back and said the government was not allowed to ask for more money. And while it was a fascinating case, I suspect neither side was happy. The municipality didn't get the additional $13.7 million they thought they deserved, and the developer had to spend an undisclosed amount of time and money in the process. And ultimately, we're still left with a few questions. 1, should Broccolini have been forced to disclose who the tenant was as part of their permit application? And would this set a helpful or dangerous precedent for future developments? 2, is it the building or the tenant that determines the qualifications for a permit? And lastly, what exactly is industrial real estate? I made a video on this topic that you can view here, but now I'm not sure if different levels of government are going to try making this a moving target going forward. I'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this?